Hi guys, Crafty Catsy again. This is just a real quick video, and it's not about crafts actually, it's about the Titanic. And for those of you who are in love with the Titanic story, I have a few tidbits for you and stuff that I didn't know till recently. And you may not like it, and you may, I don't know. However, in the movie, they called the guy Jack Dawson, the one that was in love with Kate Winslet. The guy who was in love with Kate Winslet, the real name, the guy's name was Joe Dawson. So it was Dawson, but his name was Joe, not Jack. And did you know there was actually a gravesite for the fictional character Jack, who doesn't even exist, never has. There is the actual real gravesite for him and a monument and everything else. People flock to it all year round, every year, and pay homage to Jack Dawson, right? And yet, the gravesite for the real Dawson, who's Joe, very few go to his gravesite. Isn't that something? You would think that people would go to the real one, but they don't. So, that's one thing. Another thing, in the movie, the character called Rose, her name is actually Roseanne or Rosanna. It's not Rose. So it's still very close, but not the same. And one of the other facts about Rose or Rosanna is she actually had 2 teenage sons. She was not quite as young as what the movie portrayed. And she did not get onto a boat from the ship or anything. What actually happened was she had refused. She was given a seat, but she refused to get on because she was not about to leave her 2 teenage sons on the ship and then go, leave them, right? Like what mother would. And so she stayed on it till the ship went down, actually. And what happened was she was telling them, like, stay together, and obviously once they fell into the water, they were separated almost immediately, and she could not find them once they were in the water. Now, apparently, this Joe Dawson did help her get onto a plank or a door or something, which is how she ended up getting saved by one of the boats that came back to check for people later. And that is why she ended up getting saved. It was not because she went without her boys. She was separated from her boys in the water. So that's another factor. Another factor which I don't agree with, and I don't want to believe it, is they say because of how hard times were back then, that the heart of the ocean, that jewel I talked about that you see Rose throw over the edge when she's older at the end of the movie there, they say that that jewel never existed because back then nobody could afford something like that. But I say that's hogwash because before the stock market crashed, like they said the stock market crashed after the sinking of the Titanic, sometime afterwards, and that's why that guy that Rose was supposedly engaged to in the movie, that's why he offed himself later, because of what happened with the stock market and his money. But if he had that kind of money before the crash of the stock market, then he could very well have afforded something like the heart of the ocean, depending on what he had. So I don't agree with that fact. I think it's still very possible that that jewel existed. Now, what I don't know is whether or not Rose or Rosanna actually threw it over at the edge of the ship, or if she still kept it till her dying day, sort of thing. I don't know. Somebody else could have it by now. Or it could be at the bottom of the ocean. Who knows? Anyways, I just thought I'd share those few little factors with you about the Titanic. There you go. And you can think what you will.